I did hear a
Hard to
real
say.
funny one in Florida, though. God, I'll have to tell you after. And it's a joke that can be retold.
Okay. Not on the microphone, though.
No,
Yeah, come on, you two, clean up your act.
Yes, sir.
we are awfully cheery.
Yeah.
I like that shirt.
Got a lot to talk about tonight.
Well, you know, actually,
You in Ann Arbor or something?
I didn't have time to go home and
does?
change for the board meeting.
From water.
Sweet. Normally, I'm a little softer in my clothing.
Got a long list of things to be done.
I couldn't tell. You know?
Boom, big
It'd be
blue.
nice if they didn't pull
I'll be getting some calls from some
Okay, I'm going
people.
to call this meeting to order. This is the Grand Terrace County Board of Commissioners. Today is Wednesday, April 30th. It's 6 o'clock. If you'd turn off any cell phones, we'd appreciate that. The opening ceremonies is the
Invocation.
invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Our dear God, we love you and we thank you for your love for us. We especially thank you for the democratic process in America, the way that we can maintain and manage our freedom here. And we want to be reminded that all things work together for good for those who love God. Amen.
Sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Bonnie.
Commissioner Rennie,
Present.
Inman,
Here?
Thomas. Wheelock,
Yes, ma'am.
Max Bauer.
Here,
Lathrop.
Here.
Lemko.
Here. Thanks. Next, we'll have the approval of minutes of March 26th, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the March 26, 2014 regular session of the Board of Commissioners.
Second.
Second by Rennie. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next is the March 28th special session
Motion to approve the March 28th minutes, Mr. Chairman.
by Wheelock, support by Lathrop. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next is the April 15th equalization meeting minutes
So moved.
by Rennie.
Support.
Support by Thomas. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next is public comment. Bonnie, if you could read that, please.
Any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the Board of Commissioners which is required to be open to the public under the provision of the Michigan Open Meetings Act as amended. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following board rules and procedures. A, any person wishing to address the board shall state his or her name and address. B, no person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, excluding time needed to answer commissioners' questions. The chairperson shall control the amount of time each person is allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. Chairperson may, at his or her discretion, extend the amount of time any person is allowed to speak.
Hearing the public comment, does anybody from the public like to make comment at this time? Seems everybody's rushing to the podium. Thank you very much. Next is the consent calendar.
No, approval of agenda.
Oh, excuse me, approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to speak very briefly on the natural gas usage report that's on your desk this evening. It was sent by your
Okay.
facilities to you
That's the
today.
natural gas that's going
Yeah,
to be added to
it's
the...
just.
It's
if
just
we
for
could
information?
This is just information, but I would
Okay.
like to just kind of explain to you what's on there.
All right.
So I will amend my motion, add that to the agenda. You can decide where you want to put it.
It could be under old business because I promised you you'd have it
Old business
a couple
D.
weeks ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else that has to be added to the agenda? Seeing none, a motion to approve the agenda.
We need a second.
I moved with
Okay.
that a change.
And Thomas supported it.
Okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Next is the consent calendar.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, receive and file or approval, is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. Receive and file. Number 1, resolution opposing Senate Bill 636, landline elimination, Antrim County. Number 2, resolution regarding shared equalization directives, Tuscola and Huron Counties, 2007, Antrim County. Number 3, resolution in support of House Bill 5215, Veterans Property Tax, Antrim and Shiawassee Counties. Number 4, resolution requesting funding restoration, mental health, Branch County. Number 5, resolution regarding residential sprinkler systems, Sheboygan County. Number 6, resolution opposing House Bill 5097, exemption from PERA, Oceana County. Number 7, correspondence from Father Fred Foundation dated March 26, 2014. Number 8, correspondence from Tart Trails dated April 7th. Number 9, welcome letter from Grand Traverse County to World Deaf Golf Championships. Number 10, Central Dispatch Policy Board minutes December 12th. Number 11, Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency minutes January 16th. Number 12, Area Agency on Aging minutes February 6th. Number 13, Department of Veterans Services minutes February 20th. Number 14, Traverse Area District Library minutes February 20th. Number 15, Grand Traverse County Department of Human Services Board minutes February 28th. Number 16, Board of Public Works minutes March 13th. Number 17, Department of Veterans Services minutes March 20th. Number 18, Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency minutes March 20th. Number 19, Traverse Area District Library minutes March 20th. Number 20, Traverse Area District Library Board of Trustees Special Meeting minutes March 27th. Number 21, Commission on Aging minutes April 1st. Approvals. The Public Health and Safety Committee did not meet in April. The Resource Management and Administration Committee recommends approval of the following. Number 22, appointment of deputy medical examiners. Number 23, family court vacancy, office specialist. Number 24, Sheriff's Office, surplus items. Number 25, Grand Traverse Sheriff's Office vacancies, deputies. Number 26, IT staffing plan amendment. Number 27, updated per diem policy. The Ways and Means Committee recommends approval of the following. Number 28, acceptance of RAP grant. Number 29, approval of revised board rules. Number 30, Resource Recovery 2014 hauler license. Number 31, cremation permit be established. Number 32, budget adjustments.
Hearing that, is there anybody from the public that would like any one of those items pulled from the agenda? Anybody from commissioners?
Item 24.
Item 24, with the sheriff office surplus items, we have a different item on our desk. Larry?
I would like to pull item number 27 and refer that to old unfinished business. Item A is the same item for discussion, so we could just refer that over to that item.
Okay. Charlie?
29, B29, approval of revised board rules. Goes along with what Larry's talking about, I
Okay,
think.
29, okay. Anybody else? A motion to approve the consent calendar?
Mr. Chairman, I would
as-
move to approve the consent calendar with the exceptions of items 24, 27, and 29.
I have a support by Max Bauer.
Sure.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Inman?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Lathrop?
Yes.
Rennie?
Yes.
Lemko?
Yes. Motion's carried. Next on our agenda is special orders of business. The first one is a public hearing on the YMCA project plan and issuance of bonds. Gene, you want to introduce that?
Good evening. My name is Jean Dorenzi with the Grand Traverse County Planning and Development Department, and we have requested a public hearing tonight for the YMC bond issue. As you know, in February of this year, you appointed 2 new directors to the EDC board specifically for this issue. They met in March and recommended that the project plan be adopted and that you hold a public hearing. And the Garfield Township Board of Trustees approved the project plan at their meeting last week on April 22nd. The overall project is about $14 million, and the bond issue is $4 million. Our bond counsel is Roger Swets from Dickinson Wright, and he can go through more of the details of the bond issue itself and be able to answer questions for you before you hold the public hearing, so everyone knows what the bond issue is about. Roger?
Thank you. This is the part of the process that's required by both the Economic Development Corporation statute and by the Federal Internal Revenue Code, which both provide that there needs to be an opportunity for public input in a public hearing for the issuance of these bonds. And then if the commission is of a mind to move forward after receiving that comment, it requires approval before the EDC can proceed with this bond issue. Just to refresh some of the things we've discussed about before, this will be a bond issue by the Economic Development Corporation for the benefit of the YMCA. This is not, the proposed bonds will be $4 million. This will not be a debt of the county in any sense, and it will not be a general debt of the YMCA. It will simply be what's called a revenue bond, which means that the payments from the YMCA will simply be passed on to the bondholder. Traverse City State Bank has agreed to be to purchase these bonds, and so they will be the bondholder, and there will be security provisions that will be put in place to secure the bond directly from the YMCA to Traverse City State Bank. The terms that the bank has offered in this case will be a tax-exempt interest rate, and it can be tax-exempt because of the involvement of the EDC. So this is a distinct benefit that they will receive because of the involvement of the EDC and the county in approving this. And as a result of that, there'll be some significant savings available to the YMCA and allow them to use their resources to better benefit the community. The interest rate that's going to be granted here is an interest rate of 2.875%. If this were a taxable bond issue, the interest rate would be 3.950%. And over the life of the bond issue, that will provide over a $527,000 savings to the YMCA. So this is a very significant public benefit that the county can assist the YMCA with so that they can use their resources to better serve the community through their new facility. The project here is to refinance the $4 million construction loan that the Y already has from Traverse City State Bank. And it will be for the project site that you've previously approved, as well as the EDC, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you might have about this. There is a resolution for you to use to officially approve the project if you do find favor with it after the public hearing.
I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public that would wish to speak at this time on this issue? Well, you did a great job, Roger. You must have answered all the questions.
Thank you.
Seeing nobody from the public, I will close the public hearing.
I'm from the YMCA, and I just want to say thank you to Roger and Gene for the work that they've done through the EDC, as well as Traverse City State Bank.
Okay. I'm glad somebody said something about Traverse City. Thank you.
I seen Connie come in and hide in the corner.
Yeah, well, it's hard for Connie to hide. Is there any comments from the commissioners? Questions?
I just have a question. I drive out there every week because I'm so anxious for it to open. When is it opening?
August 1st to the public is what we're planning now.
Okay.
Did I say that publicly?
You did, August 1st to the public.
So, all right. Thank you. Roger, thank you very much. Next is a public hearing on the Property Assessed Clean Energy PACE program. John?
Mr. Chairman, is it appropriate to go ahead and pass the resolution for the bond sale?
That's my question.
Should we do that now?
I think we should do that before we start with the other one.
We can do it.
That's fine.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we pass the resolution for the YMCA project, and it's whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the County of Grand Traverse as follow. It is hereby determined the project plan for this project was presented constitutes a public purpose within the meaning of the Public Act, and project plan is hereby approved in its entirety based on the following considerations. Considerations are listed, and I would move that we adopt this resolution.
Second.
I have a motion by Wheelock, support by Inman. Any other discussions from the commissioners? I will have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yep.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Lathrop?
Yes.
Rennie?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes.
Lemkool?
Yes, motion is passed. Thank you, and good luck to the YMCA and Traverse City State Bank. We appreciate being able to work with all you, and Roger, thank you for bringing this together. Appreciate it. Okay, next, we will go on to starting the public hearing on the Property Assessed Clean Energy Program. John's going to bring us up to date, and then I will open the public hearing.
Good evening. I'm John Syke, Planning and Development Director for Grand Traverse County. And PACE stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. It's a program that's made available through state legislation to counties to provide financial options for businesses in the county to fund energy, water, and renewable energy projects. This only pertains to commercial, industrial, and multiple family properties. Single-family residences are not eligible under the Act. And what this provides is, in many cases, in order to finance energy savings projects, traditional financing often doesn't work because of the long-term payback for a lot of these energy projects. So this, in essence, program uses the special assessment provision that's available to the county for specifically on those properties that would be eligible and making a application to a lender to finance that. If this basically assessment runs with the land and provides assurances that in case the loan is not paid, that this special assessment would kick in. It basically allows some security to that lender to know that those improvements will be made. This is a program that's being established throughout Michigan. I believe we're probably about the 6th or 7th county that is considering it at this time. And the Lean and Green Michigan, which is a public-private partnership throughout Michigan, in concert with Miller Canfield, has been providing expertise to counties in terms of not only establishing these districts, but also in managing the projects in terms of review and so forth. There was a forum, let me back up, back in February we did have a presentation from Andy Levin from Lean and Green Michigan. Andy is also here present today as well. Back on March 14th, we did have a business forum over at EPI in Garfield Township. There was about 40 attendees in terms of people interested in the PACE program, and I think it was pretty positive. Back on April 9th, the board passed a resolution of intent to create the district, which is essentially the boundaries of all of Grand Traverse County. And then tonight is a resolution for the formal establishment of the program.
Thank you. I will open the public hearing on this right now. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this item?
Holly Hawkins, 901 Rachel Road, Traverse City, Michigan. I became familiar with the PACE program. I am not well-versed in it, but I am well-versed in being a good steward of our energy and of our community. And our community does go forward in that. I also have a heart for local businesses, and I know some of these improvements, which can add to their bottom line, increase their cash flow, and do the right thing, can be very difficult. Lending, finding money has become difficult. So when I saw that our county has an opportunity to accomplish two very great things, I came to speak, even though I'm not well-versed.
Thank you.
My name is Mike Powers, and I'm here as a representative of Keen Technical Solutions. We're a local mechanical and electrical contractor that focuses on energy efficiency projects. And as we've known that there's an opportunity to make investments in energy efficiency, and we've helped many local businesses make those investments, but a lot of those have really touched on the low-hanging fruit, which have the faster paybacks. And this project is intended to help to work on those projects that have the longer paybacks, which are the larger projects, heating and cooling projects, which definitely will have a greater impact on our local energy use and helping bring down that energy use and also improve the values of our properties. So I just greatly support this project. And as John mentioned, there was a great forum with over 40 people that attended. A lot of those were business owners looking for other financing opportunities, and this will definitely help them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Brian Johnson with E3. We're another local contractor that does energy efficiency projects. The biggest thing I see for our companies in this community is it's a competitive market. Any product that they are making, if they're competing with somebody from Tennessee or China and they're spending more money on their energy, this product helps them lower their costs. They're not spending money on gas. They can put it into getting the next contract, which can create more jobs, and it's good for the community. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing nobody, I will close the public comment and go into the commissioners.
I would make a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
Any comments from the commissioners?
Well, I guess my comment, and I've been a little vocal about the fact that I have reservations about putting special assessments tied directly to property, because, we all know that most time property owners do not hold the property long-term, and this is a 20 or 30-year special assessment that's going to be assessed to this property. I'm assured by everyone that, the county's not going to get stuck with these properties, so I'm hopeful that that's right, and I will support the resolution with the idea that the fact that, and we'll talk later about the natural gas for the county. We've done a lot of things in our community to reduce our natural gas usage or our electrical usage, and we've got a lot of companies here that are thriving on the fact that they're making people more energy efficient, both electrically and with natural gas. And I want to support those people, so I will support the resolution.
Larry?
Well, I think there's two things really to take a hard look at them. I will support the motion or the approval of this PACE program for Grand Traverse County. I think this is a great tool for the businesses in our county, whether you're small or large. And as the presenters of this program has indicated in a previous meeting, it could be as simple as changing out windows to lightings to different energy efficiency items that could have smaller amortization terms to larger projects. And I think as a county board of commissioners, I think we should support our businesses, the Chamber of Commerce and the issue of promoting economic development and in making our businesses more efficient in the county and providing more jobs, hopefully, through this program. So I think one example that we've learned from just Grand Traverse County alone, and I'm pleased to see Elaine Wood here from the CEO from the Northwest Michigan Council of Governments. She's here on another issue. But she was very instrumental in having the 10 counties get involved in an energy efficiency program a number of years ago through a number of grants that they had acquired on our behalf. And we ended up changing out our boiler systems, our lightings, and I think we knocked down our energy consumption by more than 25% over the time that we installed all these improvement items. So I think this is a great win-win for the county and the business owners that want to take advantage of this program, and I think we should support it.
Charlie?
I agree with that 100%. For one thing, these are for-profit businesses. How wonderful that we're helping someone that way for a change.
I think we'll put some immediate money into our local economy and help some local businesses. I'm 100% behind this. I think it's a great idea, and I would move to pass this resolution to establish a property assessed clean energy program.
Second.
I have a motion by Rennie, support by Inman. Any other discussion on the motion? Just to let you know, I did attend that meeting with the 40 other people there. Very impressed. That particular company changed their light bulbs out from, 450 watt lights that were all the way throughout the whole plant, and we're able to put LED 50 watt. So that's a major savings that's just a sample of some of the savings that can be generated. How did they pay for it? They took it out of their profit and had to pay for it. This is a way for them to be able to go out and borrow the money from the bank to be able to put that as part of their mortgage and be able to make it a whole lot more economical for them to be able to get that kind of energy efficiency. So I'm looking forward to this, and hopefully that we can have some great examples of this coming in the next few years. And I also want to say, Charlie, you've mentioned that we really don't do enough for economic development.
I don't think we do.
This is a great tool for economic development, and we're here right in the forefront of it. So,
Thank you.
I need a roll call, please.
Commissioner Wheelock?
Yes.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Lathrop?
Yes.
Rennie?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Lemko?
Yep. Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the Employee Recognition and Suggestion Award Committee, Community Volunteer Award presentation. The Grand Traverse County Community Volunteer of the Year Award program seeks to recognize the employees who have performed unselfish and dedicated acts of service in the community through volunteerism. This award is given to a volunteer who has made significant difference positively representing Grand Traverse County in their community. This year, 4 nominations were received for Volunteer of the Year Award, and I'd like to ask each one of those to come forward. The first nominee is Joni Tuck, who couldn't be here. And Joni was nominated by Annette Consul. Annette states, Joni gives so much of her time and heart to the Relay of Life, the American Cancer Society. During a very difficult time, Joni was captain of the Relay for Life and was able to motivate, reach out, and draw more people to participate in the event. She also chaired the Cherry Festival volunteers to walk in the parade last year, so she does a lot of work in our community. We really recognize her. The next nominee is Mike Reed. Mike is nominated by Joni Tuck. Joni states, Mike has been involved in his children's activities since they were little. He has always been a willing helping hand in it for the sheer joy. Mike feels it important to give when the need is there, whether it was referee or coaching. He feels it's the right thing to do. When asked how he came to devote so much time to volunteering, he said his mother did a little volunteering, but most of all, he wanted to teach his children by example, not by word. He feels the community he lives in can benefit from his time and energy, and he knows certainly he doesn't get opportunities to go by. He has a spiritual connection that keeps him focused and knows that in what is expected and the right thing to do. Mike donates items, but doesn't consider it volunteering. He has a soft spot for those less fortunate and without homes. Goodwill Inn is a benefactor of many items that he buys and always keeps in mind when something comes up that there is excess. This year, when there was items left over from the Relay of Life bike sale, in which he helped set up and take down, he offered to drop them off at the inn for the residents to enjoy there. He has used his referee checks to pay it forward, buying bus passes, clothes, foot powder, whenever it is that they say they need, and drops them off. Again, he feels it's not volunteering. Mike referees with Special Olympics basketball games each year and enjoys being around youth. It keeps him young. He teaches at their level. He'll be starting in April with soccer, so you'll see him with his gym bag with a change of clothes. There are many opportunities where Mike spends his time. For example, each year for Commission on Aging, he and his son deliver NMC barbecue meals for the seniors. He has helped organize youth sports with the YMCA, mostly soccer and basketball. If they need help at the Y, they call Mike. He has been involved with soccer since his children were in it. He has done travel basketball and coached not only his children, but his brother's triplets basketball teams. You can also count on seeing him at the Relay of Life each year, walking with those hard-to-fill shifts after dark. You will see him volunteering at the State Theater, the Bijou, the Film Festival. In his neighborhood, he has served as president of the Silver Lake Improvement Group. They keep up with the Lakeshore owners' issues, and it was an informative and educational group. You will find us carving up turkey and serving those at Thanksgiving in the Church of Grand. Not only that, but he helps with cleanup too, along with other referees. Mike participates in Whistling for a Cause, where a portion of their game fees are donated to a local cancer organization. Again, keeping it local, the reason Mike should be selected to be honored is that he's been a lifelong, involved person. The countless youths that have been able to be coached or refereed by Mike have first and foremost found a friendly smile, a sensitive heart for them, and the willingness to teach them for success. The number of children and needful people that have been are countless throughout the years. I'm so proud to be able to see Mike in my work week, get to know him, select or not, he's always a winner in my eyes. Congratulations, Mike. The next nominee is Lori Johnson. Is Lori here? Yep, she's there. Lori was nominated by Sherry Tuller. Sherry states, Lori is our current team captain for Grand Terrace County Relay for Life team. Lori has been very committed team captain for Relay Life. She has held team meetings, rallied the team membership, and has looked into and signed team members up for various fundraising events on the behalf of Relay for Life. The actions she sets up at Arbor's auctions she set up at Arbor's of Grand Terrace County Community Center last fall, the rummage sale she was scheduled for May in Kings Court Community Room, and other fundraise events like Culver's La Senorita. Without her spearheading our fundraising effort, the team would not currently be over half the way to reach the goal of $5,000. Having Grand Terrace County, the Relay for Life, I believe, shows the county and its employees in a positive light. Congratulations, Lori. The next nominee is Al Clifford. Al apparently could not be here also today. He was nominated by Mary Coco. Mary states, Al Clifford has volunteered for numerous years at the Special Olympics Polar Plunge. He has raised over $8,000 for Special Olympics. The last 2 years, he was a top money raiser for the Special Olympics. Al raises funds year-round with bake sales, spaghetti dinner, soliciting donations for Special Olympics. He always has a themed costume, which makes it fun to donate and to follow his jump. Congratulations to Al. The employee recognition team, it was hard to decide on the 2014 Volunteer of the Year, but the award goes to Mike Reed. Mike?
Don't confuse Sherry.
Great.
Thank you very much. We also have one other letter that I was able to sign. In recognition of outstanding service to our county, it was great pride that I congratulate you on 20 years of anniversary with the county, starting in June 29th, 2014. It's an honor to work with professionals of your high caliber whose hard work and dedication produce superb results. Your job's not an easy one, and your efforts are duly noted. Please accept our appreciation for your hard work and service to the citizens and visitors of Grand Terrace County. Thank you for what you do, Dick Thomas.
All right. All right.
Dicky-doo.
Next is the National Nurses Week's proclamation. I need approval for that.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Inman, support by Max Bauer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. I will be making this presentation personally to their group, and so they've asked me to do that. The second year in a row that they've been able to do it, and looking forward to do it. So thank you. Next is the resolution supporting Commission on Aging volunteers. Georgia.
Georgia Durga, Director, Grand Traverse County Commission on Aging, and I have an honored guest, Lita King, who I'm going to read something about. And I also, April is National Volunteer Month, and National Volunteer Week is April 6th through 12th. And there's a few different pieces of information about the Senior Center in here that I'm going to pass around. And then I have something I want to read about Lita. Each year, the Senior Center recognizes volunteers that help out the Senior Center and the Commission on Aging in general. And this year, we had a special award. Lita King, this is Lita, has spent countless hours as a volunteer of the Grand Traverse County Senior Center. She was honored recently honored for the effort with the Presidential Service Lifetime Achievement Award. Lita reflects the volunteer spirit that's evidenced throughout our county. She contributes over 650 hours annually to the Senior Center, a dedication that has earned her the love and respect of the center users as well as the entire community. At a special volunteer event hosted by the Commission on Aging, Lita was presented with the Presidential Award, which was given to volunteers who have contributed over 4,000 hours to the organization. 4,000 hours, so she has it right here. From the President. Volunteering at the Senior Center for nearly 20 years, she and her late husband Bud have been longtime members, enjoying its many activities together. Nowadays, Lita volunteers almost every day in the kitchen, making sure seniors are served a hot meal, and on Saturday evenings, you'll find her at the Senior Center dance. And then I just want to talk a little bit about the Presidential Volunteer Service Award. The President's Volunteer Service Award recognizes United States citizens and lawfully admitted permanent residents of the United States who have achieved the required number of hours of service over a 12-month period or cumulative hours over the course of a lifetime. Established in 2003, the award is presented by the President's Council on Service and Civic Participation. It recognizes the valuable contributions volunteers are making in our communities and encourages more people to serve. The Council created the President's Volunteer Service Award program as a way to thank and honor Americans who, by their demonstrated commitment and example, inspire others to engage in volunteer service. So I want to thank Lita, and I want to present her and thank her publicly and tell her what a fabulous job she's done volunteering 4,000 hours, and I'm sure by now it's over 4,000 hours. So, and if you talk to her, she'll probably show you her pin. There it is.
Congratulations. That is, quite an honor. I do a lot of volunteering myself, and it's just, you get more out of it than you give, don't you? Yeah. That's the best part. Georgia, thank you.
I just wanted to thank Ralph for coming too.
No, good. Ralph's the chairman of the Commission on Aging, so I appreciate it. Next is the. We have to have, is there a resolution here I think we have to approve? I believe so.
There is. I would move for approval.
I'll second it.
Moved by Maxbar, support by Lathrop. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. Next is Northwest Michigan Council of Governments Annual Report Presentation.
Welcome, Elaine.
Thank you, Elaine Wood with the Northwest Michigan Council of Governments. Thank you for giving me some time on your agenda to present our annual report. I know that you've had a chance to read it, so I'm just going to hit on a few highlights. And in some of the other counties, a few commissioners have asked for a breakdown by county of some of the various programs, service levels, and so on by county. So I brought an enclosure for you that breaks down some of the programs by county. Oh, you do have hard copies of this or not?
Well, they scanned them in. That would be the hard copy we're handing out now.
Okay.
But we've got it scanned into our package.
Okay.
I think we should find a newer picture.
I was
of
just
Inman,
going to
you
say,
know.
I was going to
This looks
say
like
something.
This looks like when he graduated from high school.
It is his high school graduation picture. It's got.
That's how long I've been on that board. I got appointed when I was just a young little boy, and they just we just never got around to changing it.
I've had a couple people ask me if he started on this board when he was 12.
Yes.
We have proof now.
It's a dandy, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah. I like that picture.
You should. You were 12.
Yes.
I looked at it, I thought, God, that looks a lot like Larry.
That kid looks like he could be Larry's son.
He looks only 18 years
A
old.
lot like Larry. I'm sorry, Elaine, but
It's okay.
That's how long I've been on this board.
We try to find as
Moving right
many
along.
opportunities
We
as
digress.
possible.
you had to
Give him a
say
hard time.
something, didn't you?
Okay. Just very quickly, I'm going to work through the pages here very, very quickly. On page 2 is our letter from me and our 2 board chairs, and I hope you will not just skip over the letter, because the letter really does reflect the attitude and the culture of our organization and why we exist, and it's really all about people and businesses and communities. And And if you look at holistically everything we do at the Council of Governments, it really revolves around economic health and economic growth. So thank you for passing the PACE program tonight. That's just one example of the kinds of things that really help businesses thrive in our region. So we appreciate that. Our two governing boards are listed there on page 3, and I would like to mention that your 2 workforce board representatives from Grand Traverse County, Sue Peters, Vice President for Human Resources at Munson, is our workforce board vice chair, and Ken Osborne from Boride Engineered Abrasives is also on the board representing businesses from this county, and they are both outstanding board members. They participate exceptionally well. They're always there. They provide really great input. And Ken is relatively new. Sue has been on the board for a long time, so we have a great balance and a good variety of input from them. On page 4 is just some summary information about our Michigan Works workforce development programs. We could have a 12-page annual report just for Michigan Works, so there's a lot that's condensed here. Last year was a big year in that we had a talent summit that we held here in Traverse City for the region. We had about 200 people attending that, mostly business people. And that was a follow-up to the Governor's Economic Summit and the Governor's Education Summit. So from our regional talent summit, we did develop, the Workforce Board derived their strategic agenda for the next several years. And there's a web address there where you can go online and take a look at that strategic agenda. It's really quite impressive, the scope of the kind of impact that they have through that strategic agenda. The second half of page 4 is about our performance measures. We have 17 different federal performance measures that we have to meet every year. I am very happy to say that last year we met or exceeded, and mostly exceeded, all 17 of those performance standards. And in fact, we have never had a year where we did not meet or exceed all of our federal performance standards. We also have a state-level dashboard that's layered on top of those federal performance standards, which you can see there at the bottom of page 4. We did very well with our dashboard. That was the first year that we had a Michigan Works statewide dashboard when each region reports monthly on. So I'm not going to go through those numbers. You can see them there. I guess the main one that you might be interested in is how many jobs we have filled with the assistance of Michigan Works, which last year was almost 2,300 jobs. And you can see the breakdown of those counties on that enclosure that I passed out. We like to highlight 1 or 2 of our youth programs each year, and this year we chose to highlight our Beaver Island Residential Alternative School. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but I know Larry's been out there a couple times. It's an incredible, and Herb's been out there too. It's a residential alternative school. We have about 30 students each semester. These are students who have dropped out of their traditional high schools and in many cases have also not made it in other alternative schools. So this is kind of the alternative to the alternatives. And it is residential, it's extremely intensive, and it is a truly life turnaround kind of experience. So if you have a few minutes someday, go online and take a look at the video that's there about the Beaver Island Lighthouse School. Or if you'd ever like to go out there and see it, just let me know and I'll take you out there. I won't make you go on the boat. We'll take you on a plane unless you're like me and that freaks you out a little bit. But it's a great program and a great school to see. So on page 6, a little bit more about Michigan Works. Michigan Works is primarily federally funded, and all of that money is distributed from the federal government by a complicated formula. And the formula divides it up between the states, and then within each state, the same formula is applied to divide it up to the local regions. Our share of the Michigan money for our region is about 2%. With that 2%, last year, We served 3.4% of all the people in Michigan who were served by Michigan Works, 3.4% of all the businesses that were served by Michigan Works, and filled 3.6% of all the jobs that were filled by Michigan Works. All of that with 2% of the money. So if you combine that data with our performance data, you can see that our workforce board is doing a great job of delivering both high effectiveness and really efficient programs. So I'm very proud of those numbers and very pleased about those numbers. Last year we had a new program that was state funded called the Skilled Trades Training Fund. As you all know, we have shortages of workers in the skilled trades throughout the country, really, but in Michigan in particular. And so we were successful in working with the legislature to get the Skilled Trades Training Fund put into legislation. It will be in the budget again this year. And we brought, it says, I think we had 5 or 6 of those training grants in our region, and we trained 242 people within companies using those funds. We also started something new this year called Career Connections. We have our Michigan Works Centers, of course. We have 5 of them in 10 counties. But as you know, we have lots of remote little villages all throughout our 10-county region. So we've been trying to figure out ways to distribute our services and make them more accessible to people in more remote places, like Manton and Beulah and, Kingsley, or, lots of the small villages. So we've been taking programs out onto the road this year with a lot of success. Last year we started it. This year we're doing even more of that. And we're doing all of that under the banner of Career Connections. We have Michigan Works business liaisons assigned by counties, and you have a couple of those people who serve Grand Traverse County. As I said, they served almost 1,200 businesses last year with human resources and business development services of all kinds. We also have 3 other programs besides Michigan Works that are focused on business development. One is our Global Trade Alliance, and we do serve 32 counties with that program. The state asked us to serve all of northern Michigan and all of the UP, so we do that. Our goal last year was to have an increase in export sales of roughly 15.5 million. We actually achieved almost 23 million in increased sales through exports. Exporting is a very big, growing thing for a lot of businesses in rural Michigan, and it's great to see it. Also, we run the Small Business Development Center, which is business planning, business plan development, help with getting financing, and all kinds of other small business development services through SBDC. We served 282 companies in the 10 counties last year. Increase in annual sales is one of our key measures there. Last year that was 4.4 million, over 4.4 million. And increase in capital formation, which is really important now. You heard somebody say earlier that it's hard for businesses to get money from traditional sources now than it was a decade ago. We were instrumental in helping to form new capital of over $8 million last year just through this small program. And then our Procurement Technical Assistance Center is the program that helps companies get government contracts. And as you all know, the federal government is the largest purchaser of goods and services in the world. And there's a lot of business to be had there, but it's just a morass, as you can probably well imagine, of bureaucratic rigmarole, and it's very hard for small companies to deal with that. We only have maybe 4 companies in our entire region that have enough scale to have a person on staff who can handle the government contracting for them. So this program handholds a company through that process the first time around, helps them figure out how it works, and then continues to send them bid opportunities. And last year, companies in our region were awarded $143 million of government contracts through their association with this program. On pages 8 and 9 are our community development activities, and there's so much loaded into these 2 pages. I'm not going to take the time to go through it. I'm just going to assume you had a chance to read it. It's a wide variety of things. We are doing more every year, more fee-for-service work. So we're having units of government, especially the smaller ones, call us with requests, work they need done. We do that on a fairly normal fee scale. And that can be everything from minor projects to updating a rec plan or anything along those lines. And that is how we help fund some of our other activities. And then lastly, our prisoner reentry program is the program that we run for the Department of Corrections in the state, working with parolees who come home on parole to our region, to their home community. And the bottom line on this is that in the 10 years that we've been delivering this program, the prison recidivism rate, and I'm always happy when I can get that word out.
Yes, we all are.
Has dropped from about 50% to about 29%.
Wow.
And it does cost us, the taxpayers, at least $33,000 a year to keep someone in a state prison. So it's extremely expensive. This program focuses mostly on housing stability, especially in those first months on parole, and getting a job so that people can become tax-paying productive citizens. And obviously, statewide, it's a highly successful program. And on pages 10, 11, you see our financial summary. Just gives you an idea of where the money comes from. Last year, we were about just under $12 million. That's a pretty typical year for us. We've had some big funding decreases the last few years in our federal workforce funds, but we have just downsized accordingly and still continue to cruise along and do as much as we can. And so I'm just going to stop and answer questions if you have any. Yes?
I'm impressed with that, your ability to help a former prisoner get a job. Well, do you actually find employers that are willing to hire prisoners? They know ahead of time they are? And
Elaine,
Yes.
want me to speak to that? Maybe that's easier.
Sure.
I have 2 currently.
Oh, really?
I've probably hired a dozen of them over the last 10 years. The program, I know what their issue is, prior to hiring them. The program pays 100% of their wages for 4 weeks, 16 hours, 160 hours. They historically, for me, they haven't been necessarily long-term employees, but at least they are pretty focused when we get started anyway, and right now I've got 2 that are doing an excellent job. One of them has been there, one has been there almost 90 days, because he'll be up for health insurance the 1st of April or the 1st of May, so he's been there 90 days, and the other one has been there about 6 weeks.
Thank you, Sonia.
So it's an excellent program. And then, if I could also, I'd like to back up just a little bit and speak to the skilled trades training program, because another program that I'm a little involved with that comes through Michigan Works is we're putting together a program at Camp Pugsley to do trainings for welders and skilled trades. I'm also working with a company that I do some work with that is working on expanding some machining trades, because Elaine's exactly right. The skilled trades are hurting for employees everywhere. And, somehow or another, when we can be involved in these training programs, whether it be in the prisons or as they come out of the prison, we obviously have their attention. The biggest problem in hiring workforce today is getting people to show up 5 days in a row. I can attest to the fact that I've hired 19 people since the first of the year, and I've got 8 of them that are still there. It's unbelievable. 3 days in a row would be amazing to some of these guys. They can't handle that. But the skilled trades programs that Michigan Works is running are coming out, very well. We spent a lot of time about a year and a half ago, joining with Northwestern Michigan College, North Central Michigan College, and Baker College to put together training programs. I haven't seen the fruition of that yet. I'm hoping it comes soon, because I know that, all
For welding in
the trades are
particular?
looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool, I can imagine you get out of prison, you must feel hopeless, And you have to tell your employer that you were in prison, so this is
Right.
a wonderful way to help people out.
And we do, and I have to say, Commissioner Wheelock, you just made my day, so thank you. We do work with the parolees even before release, so about 30 days before release, and try to get a handle on where they are, what kind of skills they have, what kind of work experience they have, and identify in advance willing employers like Commissioner Wheelock who will consider parolees. And because we know that those first few weeks home on parole are just crucial.
Yeah.
Crucial.
And Joe does a fabulous job. He really
Yes,
does.
Joe Parent is our job developer.
He does a great job, and, you know, he knows what I'm looking for, he knows what I won't accept, you know, as far as, you know, what type of crimes I will not tolerate, or, you know, well, I shouldn't say tolerate, but I just, you know, I have enough drama in my world already. I don't need to add any more.
Don't we all?
So, you know, there are just things that I choose not to do.
Yes. I'd like to mention very quickly, one of the things that we're working on right now and in the 2014, and I imagine is going to last the rest of this this calendar year for us. We have, as you know, two boards, a public board and a private sector board, our Council of Governments board and our Workforce Development board. We are in the process of, we will keep both of those boards intact, but they have right now a formal agreement between the two boards to share me and to share an administration. We're going to take that to another level and kind of crank up that public-private partnership by having those two boards agree to meet together and operate as one board, even though both boards will still retain their ability to meet separately if they ever want to or need to. And then we'll add a few other private sector members, and this is really in response to the governor's push for more services to be pushed away from the state and down to the local area, and for these public-private partnership boards to oversee sort of a macroeconomic development effort on a regional basis. So stay tuned, you'll hear more about that as we go along, but so far it's progressing pretty well, and I think by fall we should have what's generically called a Regional Prosperity Board. I don't know if we'll call it that, we'll call it something else probably, but. So thank you very much for your time. If there are any other questions, I'd be.
Is there any other questions? I just wanted to say that I worked many, many years ago with Steve Woodrow and Paul Lazan and their prisoner reentry, and hired probably one of my best employees from that organization. They worked for me for over 12 years before he had a major health problem, and 6 months later he passed away.
Oh.
And but you know, when I walked into their office, they said, "We got this guy that just got out of prison. Would you be interested in hiring him?" And I said, "Well, I'll meet him here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon." Walked in, shook his hand, said, "You're going to work at 6 o'clock tonight." He walked to and from work every day for a year because he didn't have transportation, but he was that committed. And so, you know, I've had a lot of respect from the prisoner reentry, and I had a couple other employees after that that worked for me long-term. Mm-hmm. They were not short-term employees, they were long-term employees. Because when they come out, they know they have to keep their nose clean, and they do. So it's a great program, and I hope you continue it.
Thank you, I hope so too.
Yeah. So the other thing is that, you know, last month you gave out a sheet on the ages and where we come from.
To the Leadership Lunch Club. Yes.
I would love to have that as a email.
Oh, sure, I can send it to you.
I've talked to a couple different groups. I've had some discussions even with my children about where I'm coming from and where they're coming from. When you got Generation Y, Generation X, and millenniums and baby boomers.
All in the same family.
And we're all now working because there's now 4 generations of people working in our communities, in all of our businesses, and we all come from it from a different angle.
Mm-hmm. Sure, I'll email it to you, Herb, and then if you feel free to share it with the others. That stems from a retreat that our two boards did a number of years ago, and it was kind of before it was a hot topic, but we were talking about community placemaking and how do you make a region or a community or a village attractive to young professionals, because we all know now it's not like well, I'll speak for myself, my generation, the baby boomers, where people moved to where the jobs were. We all know now that Generation X and Generation Y, they choose place first, and then they figure out what they're going to do to make a living. And so economic development has changed considerably because of that one primary factor. So we were talking about placemaking. How do you make a region attractive to young people so that they bring their families, raise their families here, start their careers here, continue and build their careers here, and start businesses. So that's where that came from, and now
Thank you.
It's a pretty important topic.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all very much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is the items removed from the consent calendar. Number 1 is page 24, the Grand Traverse County property surplus room list. And what was added onto this one was the Trek Carter's Compost mountain bike. He didn't want it, so he put it back on the list.
That's correct.
So,
Move for approval.
a motion by Thomas, support by Rennie to declare this surplus property. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Next is item number 27.
I think he was going to move that back.
Move that to old business.
Oh, we'd move that to old business, okay. And now, number 29.
How about,
Or you want to do that also?
you want to wait on that, or? Yeah, I think both of those two items
Okay.
are part of the conversation for the other part.
Okay, very good. And then we go on to department action items then. April claims summary.
Just a quick comment regarding the large amount on April 16th. That's the purchase by the county of the delinquent taxes. So that includes the payment to all the local units for those taxes that we have purchased through our revolving fund.
It also included the taxes paid out to the road commission and each of the city of Traverse City for their the road tax millage that was passed. So I was able to sit on the claims and account and happen to notice that they all got their money. So now we're going to expect that the roads get taken care of, right? Well, only so much can be done for in a certain length of time. And the weight limits still are not off the roads until May.
Monday.
7 o'clock Monday morning.
Monday morning. There are some people that are really chomping at the bit to be able to get out on the roads with their heavy equipment. So, and hopefully the roads will start to get taken care of. Motion to...
Mr. Chairman, I move to pay claims in the amount of $18,553,877.05.
I have a support by Rennie. Roll call, please.
Max Bauer,
Yes.
Lathrop,
Yes.
Rennie,
Yes.
Inman,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yep.
Wheelock,
Yes.
Lemkool.
Yes. Motion's carried. Next on the agenda is on old and unfinished business. Comments regarding updated per diem policy, which was some of the emails that were sent out. Larry, you have that?
Yes, if I could address that, just for one minute. That was an item that was on the consent calendar, item number 27. At the RMA committee that I chaired, as you know, we had a discussion on the per diem policy of the Board of Commissioners. We brought out all the old information and a suggested way to handle per diem at the RMA meeting. It was a 4-3 vote. We also asked Bob and Chris to review the per diem, any per diem issues by the Attorney General and by the Legislature of Michigan, of which you have received a memo from them on that. And I don't know if Bob has anything to add to that memo he'd like to discuss with the board before we vote on it. But I just want to indicate to you that I had, as you recall, asked board members to, if they had any issues with regard to the recommendation coming to the board meeting on the per diem policy, that if they could get those comments to Chris Kramer, and then Chris Kramer would get those out to us as information only. To the best of my knowledge, we got 2 comments back, one from Commissioner Max Bauer suggesting that we have a minimum of 2 months, or excuse me, her recommendation, I believe, and she could speak to this if I'm wrong, that 2 months to submit the per diem sheet she's recommending.
No, you're
She's not
incorrect.
Okay.
You're incorrect.
Incorrect or correct?
Incorrect.
Okay, you wanted more than 2 months?
No. I specified in my memo that I would like to offer a consideration to commissioners who are choosing to retire, and this is people...
Defer it into the next year.
Defer it into the next year. If we, in fact, do that for county employees, I don't think we should be treated any differently in that respect, but if a commissioner... the only reason I brought it up was because when I retired from Shell after 30 years, we were, half of our pay was given to us the next year, and so it helps tax-wise.
Yeah.
And that was my suggestion.
Yeah, and...
But I specifically said retiring.
Okay, because my understanding is that when you submit your per diem at the end of December, it gets paid in the following year, in January, so it does not appear in that tax year. So, just so you know that.
Correct, but what I was kind of focusing on was, for instance, Chairman Lemkool is retiring, and perhaps the last 4 months of his last year of service, he might, if we can arrange it, he might choose to defer it into the next year, if that's what we do with county employees. Again, I don't want us to be treated any differently, but if that is a practice that occurs, then I would like that opportunity for retiring county commissioners.
All right. And the second comment was from Commissioner Rennie, and he can speak to this, but I believe his issue was the subjectivity of whether it should have been at that particular meeting, as long as the meeting that Commissioner felt he or she should be at, and it was a county-related meeting, then it should be up to the judgment of the commissioner to submit the per diem and not be questioned, and I agree with that. That should be in the policy, if that is a correct...
That's correct.
...restatement. So I encourage those commissioners to submit comments back. Hopefully, we can have a better consensus at the board meeting regarding our per diem policy. So I was going to try to recommend that we approve the policy with the changes from Commissioner Rennie and Commissioner Maxbauer, and I just need to clarify exactly what Commissioner Maxbauer would like to say in the change, and then we maybe get it on the floor.
Well, actually, thank you, Commissioner Inman. Dean, do we have a practice for employees who are retiring that allows them to expenses the last 2 or 3 months, whatever it is, to defer payment into the next year?
We don't have, we wouldn't allow that period of time, but it's not uncommon to have their final pay posted or actually paid in the subsequent year because of, the timing of when they retire.
Okay.
If you have someone who's retiring at the end of the year, which is our calendar fiscal year, some of those final payments are not made until the following year, and I think that's what Commissioner Maxbauer was referring to. We do make some of those final payments for compensation in the subsequent year.
Okay.
But I think if we still allow them to, require them to be made within 30 days or submitted within 30 days, they probably will be paid out in the following year, but I think it's a lot cleaner if we, just simply keep it.
I don't have a problem. I was just speaking specifically to retiring
Yeah, well, I think
people, but I'm not going to fuss about it.
I think it's less confusing if we just simply have per diems are due within 30 days, and, when the check is actually cut, probably will be deferred.
Okay.
Yeah, and in all cases, when we submit our December per diem, it's paid in the following year, January anyways. So, Mr. Chairman, if I could, make a motion that the board approve, and then we can go into discussion with council, approve the per diem policy as recommended by RMA committee with the addition of Commissioner Rennie's comment that within the body of the per diem policy, wherever council feels it's permitted or best suited, that we would, that as a board of commissioners, it would be our policy to defer the judgment of the per diem expense in terms of its qualification to the individual commissioner, as long as it's a county-related meeting. So I would make that motion for that amendment to what was approved at the RMA committee meeting.
Charlie?
Yeah, now, is that going to be added in paragraph 1?
We need a second.
A3, or how's that going to work?
I need a second.
Oh, okay. I'll second it.
Yeah, and then we can talk about where it belongs.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, I was going to just suggest that council just put it in where it should, where he thinks it should go.
Okay, but that was the area that it jumped out at.
Yeah, 1A is fine.
That's kind of where it's got to go, is right in that first paragraph.
Yeah, 1A is, yeah, I think it is. So, all right, great. And then, I don't know, Bob, if you have any subsequent questions or concerns about what we have on the floor in terms of the policy?
No, nothing other than
Okay.
what's been stated in our memo.
All right, okay. So that, we have a motion on the floor, and that's my report.
And I should have caught this and sent it to you ahead of time. I sometimes have issues with the 3 meetings per day, which is fine, but the idea that you get $35 for the first 2 meetings and the third one you get $20 for, because we have a maximum of $90 a day. I have some committees that I meet at 7 o'clock in the morning and 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 7 o'clock at night. That's not like you can combine these 2 meetings together to where it's a lot of running around, but it's not a big deal. It's there. I'm pretty sure that none of us sitting here are doing this for the money.
Yeah, and I can remark to that. That is in the body of the compensation for county commissioners for our term, for this term.
Right, it is. But we're setting the policy that will be applied to the next term of county commission.
Well, it's going to be applied effective at the end of this board meeting. This is the per diem policy moving forward after this board meeting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Other comments? So just to make a clarification, the resolution that's on page 79 is what you're approving?
Mm-hmm. With the amended change from Commissioner Rennie's comment.
The meeting with constituents is the additional.
Well, it has to be county-related meeting, and
I think he's talking about one you put in before, where you talked about meeting with constituents. This is a different item.
yeah, the meeting with constituent is a not.
Right.
Yeah, yes,
Right.
correct.
I just want to make sure Bonnie understands what the resolution is. I saw some question marks over there.
She's got a puzzled look on her face.
This is what I'm thinking, you're saying.
Not having a per diem for constituents is not, is part of the body of not paying for ceremonial flag things and meeting with constituents.
Okay.
It's correctly printed in the.
Well, looking at Charlie's email.
Yes.
And so you made the motion to approve the per diem policy as recommended, plus add Commissioner Rennie's comment, and I thought you said that they deferred the judgment of per diem qualification to the individual commissioners.
Yes.
And then there was something else too?
No.
Oh.
No, we were going to skip Commissioner Maxwell's comment.
That would be at A1?
Yeah, 1A.
Okay. Any other questions? Chris?
If I am sitting on the audit committee and I am expected to automatically rubber stamp per diems, you need to replace me.
You can make that motion, Herb.
I mean, I just don't think, I think that if we want to attend ceremonies, you attend ceremonies. I don't think that breakfasts, and it's just me.
They're not covered. Those are not covered.
Those are already not covered.
We already have those stated in the policy.
Those
They're
are
not
being
covered.
taken out.
Okay.
You cannot put a per diem in for those kind of meetings.
Yep.
With this policy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Those are
but
excluded.
what this is sounding like to me, and maybe I'm misunderstanding here, is that the audit committee is just going to automatically rubber stamp whatever somebody turns in.
Here's.
Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
I'm here, let me help you with this.
Please.
is
I need all the help I can get.
if a commissioner attends a meeting that he or she is not assigned to,
Oh, okay.
okay, and it's a county-related meeting.
All right.
And he or she feels it's important to attend that meeting, then that person can put that down as a per diem,
Okay.
okay?
Thank you for that
And we've
clarification.
specified that flag ceremonies and ribbon-cutting ceremonies.
Basically, if it's a meeting, it has to have minutes taken. If it
Yes.
doesn't have minutes taken,
Works
it's
for
not a
me.
meeting.
Yes.
Works
That's
for
kind of what
me.
we talked about in the committee.
So
Okay.
if there's something
That's a
going
good
on
idea.
at Parks and Rec that is
That defines a meeting.
that is hot, and we all want, and we want to go, we get a per
It's a
diem.
meeting.
Okay?
All right, minutes?
Okay?
All right, fine.
All
As
right.
long as I understand.
I need a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Lathrop,
Yes.
Rennie,
Yes.
Inman,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Wheelock,
Yes.
Max Bauer,
No.
Lemko.
Yes. The motion passes.
If I could make a remark.
No?
Okay.
All righty then.
Next is the, we're going to go, but yeah, go ahead, Larry, I don't care.
Well, I just wanted to thank the commissioners for their input, and we had several commissioners, Rennie and Max Bauer, that came to the ad hoc committee meeting, and this really needed to get cleaned up, to be honest with you. It's so vague, and, my 22 years of service, we were constantly crossing stuff off and talking to commissioners, even ones with long services and short services, and it really needed to be, attended to, and I think this helped clarifies everything. And I think in the long run, I feel bad for those that have been placed in an unusual position of putting it down without the clarification issue, and I think this clarifies it moving forward for those individuals.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is County Board Rules of Order form of address, Chris Forsythe. Any comments or suggestions on that?
Didn't we pull 29?
Yes.
That was to go with this.
Yeah, 29 was,
At 20,
29 went with the per diem thing, I think. Yeah, because it was, that would be some of those rules.
The amendments to the board rules.
so I need approval of the revised board rules.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have support?
Second.
I have support, do I have any other discussion? Charlie?
I was reading through that, and I see that we have a procedure for doing roll call. When I first became a commissioner, I thought we had a procedure for doing seating arrangement at board meetings, and that seems to have been lost, and I want to know what that's all about, and should we have a rule in our board rules to cover that?
I don't think so. I think basically it's Bonnie throws the name tags out.
As they come out of the thing.
That's the rule.
Yeah, that's the rule. It's always been the rule.
You might be talking about how we take a vote, and
That's what I'm talking about.
I do I changed the order around by commissioner district, reverse commissioner district, alpha and reverse alpha. So I try to grab a different one at every meeting.
I understand that part, but I don't understand why the seating stays the same.
Did it stay the same this time?
It does every time,
No, it doesn't.
pretty much. Now, I sit on a couple other boards, and they are rotated by procedure with a method.
You mean the voting, or where you sit, or where you vote, or how you vote?
I think that whoever the clerk puts it out, that should be looked at, and we should, I guess, have a procedure
We
as to
can
how
move
we
you
sit
around a
people.
little more. I wasn't paying attention when I was pulling it out this time.
No.
It might be exactly the way it got into the,
Usually Bonnie
Last
will
time.
come to the chairman, and the chairman will pull out the direction.
Right, but that's
And-
the roll call vote. It
Yeah.
doesn't have anything to do with the seating
Right.
arrangement.
So, but, I've told Bonnie that I rely upon her, that she can find the best way
Which
to
of the
put it,
four
and
sheets
let her do it.
in the past, when we used to set it up, somebody would come in and move them all around again. So it didn't really seem to matter, I think it was Larry, would move people's names all over the place, so figured we didn't really care where you guys were sitting.
Okay, so that's why we
Except
need,
for the chairman always sits in the same spot.
that's why we need a policy.
No, I don't. But anyway, Sonny, you had a question?
She always sets me between two thorns. What difference does it make?
Well, that's just bugging me. Exactly. I'm one of the thorns.
I guess my comment has to do with this form of address that Chris drafted here, I guess more than anything else, what it does is explains to the public that we will not conduct dialogue during public comment.
Or we may not.
Or we may not, that's, there's some, I suppose there's some purpose to have it part of the board rules, but, I think it's common practice that when you're receiving public comment, you receive the comment. You don't create a dialogue between the participants and the board. And this basically identifies that for the audience's purpose. It says each person who speaks shall direct his or her comments to the chairperson. In order to avoid unscheduled debates, the board generally will not comment or respond to a person who is addressing the board. Silence or non-response for the board should not be interpreted as disinterest or disagreement by the board. Board members wishing to address a member of the public during public comment shall first obtain approval from the chairperson. I think it's common practice and long-standing practice, and I think it's a good practice that we take public comment, that we do not have debate during public comment per session.
Dan?
I really agree with that. Although we've had meetings lately where people had public comment, and basically they acted like a board member. There's a lot to talk back and forth. I felt that was inappropriate.
Shouldn't happen.
Shouldn't happen, and I think we should stick to this rule.
If someone makes a comment in public comment and a board member feels it's something we should be discussing,
goes on an agenda,
then the board member should ask that it be put on an agenda. We should not have debate during public comment.
Do you want to add that in your rules?
No,
it's in there.
It's in there.
If we approve this amendment that's drafted here and put it in there, that's fine, and I would move that we make that amendment.
I like to see it in there. I'd second it.
I already made the motion, didn't I?
Sorry.
Bonnie,
Do we have a motion, Bonnie?
Bonnie?
You made the motion for number 29, and I don't know, then we never had a vote on it, and now we're on the form of
10B.
address that
I'm
they're
sorry.
talking about. So
Yeah.
We have
You ahead of myself?
You are correct, Chris.
Yeah.
So,
So the motion really has to be 29 plus 10B to combine together.
so you want to make an amendment to the motion, Sonny?
That's fine. If she's willing to accept the item number 29 and include this change to finalize the board rules, I'm fine with that.
Let's just do the amendment to the motion. We'll vote on the amendment, and then we'll
I
vote on
can't
the
find number
motion.
29 because my pad won't
Page
move.
86.
So,
Hang on.
Page 86, you said?
Yeah, page 86.
okay. Charlie?
Yeah, I was just asking, you said something about if you want to talk to the public during a public comment, has to go on an agenda. Does that mean approval of the chairperson? Is that what you're talking about there? At that moment, or does it kind of come at a later point? It says approval of the chairperson here.
It can come from any board member, actually. So you could ask for something to be put on the agenda after somebody makes a
So
comment.
what you're saying here is then if someone wanted to speak to a person during public comment, they would come at a later time, later date? Or can we ask you and have it done then?
No, public comment is public comment. We don't have any dialogue. If a board member wishes to say, I'd like to put that on the agenda, then we could put that on the agenda, vote of the Board of Commissioners approves, yes, they want to make that part of the agenda, and then it goes on to the agenda.
That day's agenda?
It depends on where you want to put it. You may want clarifying information.
It could be that day then?
Could be that day.
Could be that day, or it could be...
You may want to ask for a clarification of something they said, and then you can just raise your hand and the chairperson can authorize you.
That's what it says here.
To clarify.
Are you all right, Chris?
I'm fine.
Okay, so I'm going to call for a motion on the amended motion.
Item number 29.
Yeah, for amended 29. So the amendment is the roll call first. All the roll call on that amendment to add that public comment is to be addressed to the chairman. Okay?
Okay.
Bonnie?
Commissioner Rennie?
No.
Inman?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Lathrop?
Yes.
Lemko?
Yes. Okay, that was the amendment. Now on the motion itself, to approve the revised board rules.
Chris has got that motion, and it was supported by, who supported it, Bonnie?
Mary.
Rennie,
Oh,
okay.
Rennie did? Okay.
All right, so we'll have a roll call on that, please.
Inman.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yep.
Wheelock.
Yes.
Max Bauer.
Yes.
Lathrop.
Yes.
Rennie.
No.
Lemkool.
Yes, motion's carried. Next on the agenda is a verbal update regarding drain commissioner discussion at Ways and Means.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm going to
Okay.
recuse myself.
You bet. So Dave, you got that?
Yes. I spoke with Mr. Klaus after our last meeting, and he indicated that he was satisfied with the things that we had been doing. I've had some correspondence between the drain commissioner and my staff, and the drain commissioner and Bob's office, as well as some back and forth between the construction codes office regarding soil erosion and Mr. McEllier, and it looks like things are coming together. So I'm confident that we're going to get to the right place. The stormwater ordinances right now are on the website. There was some confusion on whether that was supposed to be taken off of there. I'm very confused by a couple things. One is we have an ordinance that still has stormwater in it that needs to be amended. It says soil erosion and stormwater, and we really need to take formal action to change that. On the one hand, the board passed a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement, I believe it says, with the Village of Fife Lake, between the Drain Commissioner and the Village of Fife Lake and Fife Lake Township on stormwater ordinances. But the last discussion we had was that there was no intergovernmental agreement. It was a contractual relationship between Kevin McEllier and the Village of Fife Lake, and Kevin McEllier and the Township of Fife Lake. So I think we have a couple cleanup items that we still have to take care of, but I think it's going to all work itself out.
Okay, good. Other questions from commissioners?
No.
Audience? Yes, please.
Lisa Leedy, Village of Fife Lake, 616 Bate Street. Actually, this is not why I came here today, but I see that you're discussing this, and there was a resolution on December 26th that this group passed that is number 203-2013, and it was between the Drain Commissioner and each of our municipalities in Fife Lake. So it is my understanding that this agreement is between the county and us. This is the first I've heard that this is a contractual agreement between a private individual and our group. So I just want to clarify that. That's my understanding. Just in my quick looking at the minutes of your Ways and Means Committee and then looking back at that resolution off your website. So if you need any further clarification from the village, I'd be happy to do so.
I think that is one of the things we have to clean up, because
It was supposed to be.
it was supposed to be that this was not a function of the drain commissioner as far as a county official. I think
Correct.
that was the discussion.
Yeah, he was going to act on his own accord.
So the
And contract with the
intergovernmental
individual.
agreement says Drain Commissioner on it, and if it was a private contractual deal, then why would we have had to have a resolution from this board?
So
Do I not?
You wouldn't have.
I'm just asking, I'm not.
I hear you, Lisa.
let's put that on the agenda for the Resources Administration. Is that all right for everybody? So we can get some clarification.
All right, I'll plan on attending that.
All right.
Thank you.
Bill, would you like to make a comment? Go ahead.
I believe that...
Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Bill Klaus. I live at 5523 North Hannah Road, Kingswood, Michigan. I believe that this commission's made a lot of progress cleaning up things as it relates to the Drain Commissioner and his website. There's more to do, but you've made a lot of progress, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other public like to make comment? All right, so we're going to put that on Resource Administration next month to be able to see about cleaning that up. Okay? Next, there's the report from Sunny on the natural gas usage for county buildings.
I had Janice run you a report and submit it to you with each of the county buildings and each of the natural gas meters that we have. We negotiated, as I reported to you, must have been in March, we negotiated a 3-year contract at .529 CCF, which is higher than what we paid a year ago. But what is interesting is if I go back and I look, I started negotiating my contract in 2006. We started negotiating the county's contract in 2009. The average rate of natural gas in 2008 was $8.30 a thousand. We are currently at $5.29 a thousand. The savings, if we were using the same amount of gas today that we were using in 2008 at 2008's pricing, we saved $75,852 with this negotiated contract. I had went back through and, 1 year it goes up, 1 year it goes down. But the fact is that we've saved over $100,000 since 2009 in negotiating this contract on an annual basis. We chose this time to negotiate a 3-year contract. And to be honest with you, I don't know what the current DTE rate is. I haven't dealt with the current DTE rate for so long, I don't know. I've negotiated contracts for myself, and I was involved in the negotiation for the county. But, we use 25.3 million cubic feet of gas a year, so we're looking at $133,000 in 2000 projected costs in 2014. But what's also interesting in this negotiated contract is we're projecting a $75,000 savings over where we'd have been if the gas had stayed at the same price it was in 2008. So in the next 3 years, in this 3-year contract, we're saving the taxpayers of Grand Traverse County about $250,000 just by negotiating our gas contract. And that's assuming that the price hasn't went up since 2008. And I don't believe any of us in this room believe that the price of natural gas isn't higher today than it was in 2008. So, it's kind of a tedious process, but it's served us well. What's kind of interesting in this report is that we get to see, what it costs us to keep heat on in the Vasa building, and what it costs us to, what the Front Street building costs us relative to the amount of square footage and the jail release facility. I started to put together some numbers based on how many square feet and what the energy cost was. Now, one thing I do need to point out is the fact that this is the gas cost. This does not include the distribution cost. DTE still assesses us a distribution cost each month in addition to this. But this is what the gas costs. The rate that we negotiated right here is about $1.30 a thousand cheaper than the last IMSAT or the last New York Stock Exchange trading at the time we signed this contract. We were about $1.30 a thousand cheaper than if we'd have been buying it right from the stock exchange on that day. So it's a good contract.
Sonny, thank you. Go ahead, Chris.
Sonny, I just went to the DTE website, and I don't know how current their website is. Their gas cost recovery, and I understand that negotiating a contract is very, very different than what they're selling it for just on a monthly basis. But it says their gas cost recovery is 0.42.
Yeah, I don't know what numbers are what, but
Gas cost recovery is the price you pay for gas.
I would be amazed if it was 0.42 would be the actual contract cost.
And it says, the distribution charge is 0.24. Energy optimization is 0.018.
Yeah, all of that stuff adds into the contract.
It's all in the contract. including the distribution charge.
No, the distribution, there's a distribution charge.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think it's that.
Because you got to pay for the space in the pipe.
Right, and I can't tell you off the top of my head. I should have pulled the bill to tell you what that was currently, but I know at the time that we signed this contract, we were about $1.30 under what the natural gas futures were selling at the stock exchange.
Okay.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Do you have an audience that would like to say something?
Holly Hawkins, 901 Ratio Road, Traverse City, Michigan. I need to come to more meetings. It's nice to see those of you that I know, and then it is good to see what you are doing. The supplier gas is within my expertise, and I want to thank Sonny for his hard work and what is done. It's very difficult times with what that commodity is doing. So when we look historically or look at what DTE is today, because there is no means with DTE to lock in a rate, and that rate is very fluctuating. And if one looks at what the pundits are saying, what the federal government is saying, what the EIA is saying, those rates are going up. So I believe there is good protection for the county. And I believe that's with IGS Energy.
Right.
And IGS Energy, if something goofy happens and the market goes down, they will do a contract that does a blend and extend, so you can expand. So it is very good for the county. And it is hard when you look at a lower rate. Oh, milk is only $1.99, but you've just been guaranteed $2.39 for 3 years, whatever that would be. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, new business. Any new business? Second, public comment. Carol?
Yes, hi, I'm Karen Rennie, and I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and this morning I attended a seminar held at the Haggerty Center. I've given each one of you a pamphlet that I brought, and this was put on by Michigan Leaders for Business in Michigan. We're coming back, but not fast enough. We're still not back to the levels before the Great Recession of '09. And there's many reasons for that, and there's many things that we want to do. Something that I'm not going to read you the whole pamphlet. It's so simple and self-explanatory, and I think you can look through that yourself. But there's many reasons why, and this was a program that was put on by Mr. Doug Rothwell, who is the president and CEO of Business Leaders for Michigan, and he's worked with Governor Snyder and Engler as well. Anyway, he was telling us that to make Michigan really competitive, we have to improve our perception in the country. And we are doing that, but we need to do more, improve the tax base. He's hoping that the personal property tax that will go on the ballot in August will pass. Here's something that I didn't know. Do you know that we have, Michigan's talent is really good, but only 21% of our high school graduates are college or career ready. That's unacceptable. When we need to have where am I looking for this? We need to have more college graduates and trained individuals, and we don't have that in this state. Secondly, our roads are in such disrepair. We're about 50th in the country. And he is encouraging everybody we're going to have to raise that income somewhere. We need $1.5 billion to fix our roads really properly. And those are the arteries for business, and without that, we're just not going to be competitive. Something I found really interesting is Michigan's geographic location, and having lived here my whole life, I didn't know this, that our state is unique in that we are the largest of the air hubs to Asia, a center link for NAFTA highway, and the closest entry to the Midwest to the Halifax port. So that makes us centrally located for trade and travel for those entities, which is something I never knew. So please take a time this weekend or whatever, go through this, give it some thought. We're coming back, not fast enough, but we can work together. His key words were that you compete, invest, and grow, and that we all want to do this. This is our home, and for the future generations as well. Thank you very much.
So there's also a seminar coming up talking about China, whether or not we're a partner or a competitor. And Jack Siegel, I think, is the one that's doing that, and should be an interesting discussion, dialogue, I think, as to how we can work more as partners with Japan.
You know, President Nelson of the college was there this morning, and I want to meet with him again. And he said he's recently spent, I think it was 10 days in China, and the stuff he came away with that, he says it was just so thought-provoking. And he said that we really need to recognize China, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from him again. I saw Elaine Wood there today, as she was in Rotary yesterday, so we're traveling the same path. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Lisa?
Lisa Leedy, 616 Bate Street, Village of Fife Lake. And I actually came to extend an invitation to all of you, even though you're not going to get paid, and anyone in the public. We are having a ribbon cutting ceremony on June 7th. The North Country Trail has created a loop trail in Fife Lake, and there are very few in the state of Michigan. It is I believe it's 13 miles, but don't quote me on that. It will go from the Manistee River, Old 131 campground, up around the bridge up to downtown Fife Lake, and then back around again. So the North Country Trail has been working hard with the Grand Traverse Hiking Club, and the ribbon cutting ceremony will happen at the Manistee Roadside Park. You'll probably get an invitation, some other means, but I'm going to say that out loud. And my predecessor, Noreen Boring, has actually been spearheading this since over the past several years. So she's organized this, and now they're ready to cut the ribbon. So you're all welcome to join. There'll be a picnic lunch in lieu of a payment.
Thank you.
Oh, it's at 10 a.m.
Is that the 7th? Is that what she said? Okay. Any other public comment? Alicia?
Lisa Kropa, Garfield Township, York County Parks Commission President. I'm just here to invite everyone to the County Parks and Rec Network Expo this weekend at the Civic Center on Sunday from 10 to 4. All sorts of things there. You won't get paid, but there's probably snacks, something like that. It's a great event for everyone. Come see what we're doing, and all the different volunteer and not-for-profit and small businesses that are providing programs in Grand Traverse County for parks, and taking that off of the backs of the county. And another thing that morning, 8 o'clock at Grand Traverse Metro Fire Station number 9 is the annual Metro Pancake Breakfast. I don't work for Metro Fire, but I'm the mom of someone that does, and it's a really important organization in our county, and it'd be great to see people come out and support that. So that's at 8, and then 10 to 4 at the Civic Center is the Parks and Rec Network Expo. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other public comment? Next is commissioner reports. Chris?
I just want to let you all know that the City Commission had probably one of the calmest budget discussions I think I've ever heard them have, and they're getting ready to adopt their new budget.
Okay. Larry?
I will not be able to attend the May 7th Public Safety Committee meeting. Just to let you know.
Is there one? Yep.
Yes.
Is there? We have an agenda items?
Yes.
Okay. Charlie?
I went to an employee recognition ceremony here last week. It was very good. I'd like to congratulate Chris Kramer from the Administrator's Office for her award, along with the other folks that won those awards. It was a nice event, and it's good to see people interested in what they do at work.
Mm-hmm.
So, I attended Beta today. We the whole board went by Beta bus to a different venue to have the meeting. Anyway, they were discussing giving raises so we could keep our non-bargaining people there. It amazed me, they did a study, and it cost $15,000 to do that study. So it costs money to find out what you're supposed to pay people.
We know.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Anyway, they're wrestling with that, and we also got a new CPA, the guy that manages our finances, resigned. We've got a new lady now that has great credentials, and she's coming on board, so that's that. Beta.
Cool. I thought the Senior Center's newsletter come out with a rather interesting Veterans Benefits by Georgia Durga. And it's just, I think this is a great piece, and I would like to see us put on our website some way to be able to do it. Talks about widows, survivors' pension, tax-free money for benefit payable to low-income unmarried surviving spouse, aid and attendance eligible for VA pensions require, dependency and indemnity compensation, presumptive diseases, Michigan Veterans Trust Fund, veterans homes, property tax exemptions. Kind of gives a nice layout of what is available for veterans in our community. And Larry, I know you're on that Veterans Board, and I don't know if you got this, but you might want to bring that to your group.
Okay, great.
And, but make it as part of it. But I'd also like to see it on the Veterans website for Grand Traverse County.
You can put that in my box.
I can give it to you here, so
Okay,
that's all right. So I just thought it was kind of an interesting article, so. Anything else from the commissioners? Any
Sonny's got a-
notices? Oh, I'm sorry, Sonny.
Just a brief thing, because I asked Bob earlier, and there's a fresh email here. Corrections Officer Amanda Kohler's son, I think you got an email that he is in Grand Rapids in the hospital. They're doing a brain biopsy tomorrow morning. They've managed to do thousands of tests, I'm sure, but they're doing a brain biopsy tomorrow morning. You know, we need to keep them in our thoughts and our prayers.
Can we do $100 out of our flower fund toward that?
Do that.
We can do that, but that's not official
But not-
action of
not
this
part of
board.
it.
So,
Okay.
you know, there's a note in the email that I just received from Bob that says that the cost for food, hotels, and transportation is adding up, so. When we're done with this meeting, I would ask
we'll talk about that?
We talk about that.
All right. Any other notices? Larry?
One, Bob, I believe you're doing a Open Meetings Act training
May 22nd.
May 22nd at 9 o'clock in the training room.
That's correct.
And thank you for doing that again this year.
This is for anybody that sits on a public board that wants to attend that. But we need to have a number?
Well,
I've called in at my reservation.
I went in front of the city commission and asked that they call administration.
Okay.
My little gift to you.
All right. Anything else been brought? Dave, is anything for you?
No.
Okay. Then we are adjourned.
Closed session.
Okay. No, it's not closed session.
Hey, Lisa?
Commissioners, do we want to do $100 out of our flower fund?
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Dave, would you make sure?